What's going on, YouTube? Back at it again. This time I'm going to be putting my outdrive back on. Now, last night I put everything back together. I changed out most of the O-rings in there, and I got my list that I checked off. I'll show you that later on at the end of the video, but so I got everything put back in except for the water impeller. I haven't put that back in yet. Now so I just took out the gimbal bearing, and you guys can't see it really, but I just finished cleaning up most of the gunk in there inside, and then I just put on some fresh marine grease. And so I wanted to show you guys the gimbal bearing that I have now. When I pulled out the old one, it's this one right here. So that's the old one right there, and you know, it's in bad shape. This thing is all rattling. Let me show you guys that. Yeah, if you guys can hear that, that's a bad knock on my bearing. So when I pulled it out like this, facing me, right? So if I look at it, the raised side is facing me, and then the flatter side is the one that's towards the engine, but towards the outboard, it's like this. That's how I pulled it out. But I'm watching a couple of people doing theirs, and I seen they have it flipped the other way. Ooh, it's kind of windy out here in Pittsburgh, but yeah, I don't know if you guys can see that. Oops. It's kind of windy out here, but it always is. So yeah, so I seen a couple of videos that had their gimbal. They have it like that, where it's flat facing the outdrive, and then raised facing the engine. And then I also seen some videos that had it where the raised part is facing out. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy how the old one came out. And the old one came out like this. Man, that's nasty. So yeah, and then if you guys can see that little notch right there, so same thing with that notch. So I'm going to put it in the same way it came out. Now oops, my bad. So I mean, this notch facing the engine, and this part right here was the one that was facing out. So I'm gonna do it that way, which means that the notches on this one, I'm gonna face it like this. So that's how I'm gonna do it. This thing look like it's still the original. I don't know, but from the sound of it, it's ugly. But alright guys, let me continue on to what I'm doing. Check back to you guys in a minute. Later. Alright guys, I almost forgot about this. I bought the same tool that a lot of people have been using, which is this one right here, along with this. So that's what people have been using, and to take out the bearing. And I think it's a good tool to use instead of the slide hammer one. I find this one a lot easier, and with the slide hammer, I think it's not long enough, or the hammer part wouldn't have been big enough to knock this bearing out of here. So using it with an open wrench would be best. My suggestion is get an open wrench to fit this, big enough to fit that, and then get yourself a breaker bar, give you more leverage. But I wanted to show you guys this. This is the alignment tool that came combo with the kit that I bought. And so right now we're in the process of trying to drill a hole for the bolt. There is a mount plate that you slide in here, and then you drill a hole, and then it screws in to hold it in place, and that's the base that you're going to use to pound the new bearing in. But one thing not a lot of people have done on the videos that I've seen is that they marked off how far the bearing was inside. So what they did was hold on a second. What they did was basically measure the bearing and all the way up to maybe the outer part of that, the boot. And so that's how they measure how far the bearing goes in, which I did the same thing. I marked it off before I pulled it out, so that I get the same depth when I put it back in. But one thing that a lot of people were not doing is, they got the same kit, they got the same alignment tool, but what I did different is I slid this in while the old bearing was still in there. And what I did was I took a measurement from how far the bearing was. So now all I need to do is get this base plate to line up right behind it. And so now I'm gonna have the new gimbal bearing right here where my line is, and I know that I can pound this alignment tool as much as I can without damaging anything from behind here, because I know that it's gonna stop where I marked this off. So that's just a heads up, guys. I know you guys are going to be doing or whoever's watching this is going to be doing their own gimbal bearing, and so this is just something that I was thinking about when I was thinking about replacing mine too, is how far do you have to put this. And so like I said, not a lot of people who have done this type of work marked off their alignment tool, and so you might be hitting it, and you might be damaging something from back here, clutch or something like that. So mark off your old one where it's at, so you can put your base right behind it. What's going on, guys? I'm back at it again. Today I just topped off the gear oil right there. So yesterday I got pretty much everything put back, put the impeller back after I get in this drive back in. And I just wanted to document the struggles that I had yesterday. So let me go over that now. I won't be able to show you guys on the actual part, but let's look here in the parts diagram. Now, since the gimbal bearing was new, it was pretty tight getting the yoke shaft going through it. So what I did was I took the gimbal bearing back off. I slid it into, the new gimbal bearing, and I slid it into the yoke shaft. And what I found out was it was catching right around here before the two O-rings. And so, after really inspecting it, there was, a whole bunch of just worn out rust and crud from the old bearing. And so what I did was I sanded just a little bit to get those rust and crud off. So I sanded this part right here about 2 inches before the two O-rings. And what I did is I just used my 3-inch pad sandpaper, and this was a 240 grit. So yeah, so what I did was I sanded all around, made it nice and smooth for the new gimbal bearing. And so after I did that, this yoke shaft slid in pretty easy without any problems. So just a heads up, if you guys were changing out your gimbal bearing, make sure this yoke shaft right here is nice and clean, because the gimbal bearing is new, so it's not gonna go through it so easily, not like the old one. So that's what I did yesterday, and I wanted to check off some of the gaskets, the new gaskets that I put in. So this belt gasket, I changed that. I used my old seal, but this whole kit was brand new, so I just used the old seal from there. Now I wanted to change this O-ring, and then this seal, this O-ring, and then this whole thing right here, this bore. I wanted to change that, but that requires taking off the adapter, and I don't think it's necessary for me to do that right now because I'm not getting any water in my gear case, so I don't have a leak from the water source. I think they said this one right here would be the one that would be worn out if you were getting water in your gear case, and so I'm not. So I'm gonna hold up on that, and plus it's pretty easy anyways because it's right here, right there in the front. So that's not gonna be too hard to change out if I need to. What else? I think that's about it as far as all the O-rings that I changed out. So from the lower, and then from this upper. Oh yeah, and this one too. I changed this one out too. So today is gonna be testing day. I'm going to leave the cover off while I'm dry testing this, and just to make sure that I'm not getting any leaks or anything like that. And I hope it works. So for my testing video, I'm going to be putting that in another video, so stay tuned for that one, so you guys can see how it is, and what I'm trying to do, how I'm going to do it. But yeah, so just for this video, I just wanted to show you guys that everything is put back on, and I'm ready to test it. But that's it. Alright guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.